Have you ever heard of sleep milk? My nephew was depressed, unable to sleep every night. When my sister-in-law found out, she actually injected him with sleep milk to cure his insomnia. Luckily, I discovered it in time. It turned out the sleep milk was actually an anesthetic. I secretly replaced it with a nutritional solution, saving my nephew's life. Afterward, I also spent my own money and effort to take him to a proper hospital for treatment. He eventually recovered from depression and insomnia and passed the entrance exam to Tsinghua University. But then he was denied admission for sexual harassment. His mother and he blamed everything on me. If you hadn't stopped me from injecting my son with sleep milk, why would he only be second in his class? If he were first, let alone harassing one girl, even if he harassed hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of professors, no one would dare reject him. My nephew even shamelessly said, "The reason I harassed others is because I value them." As for you, that despicable woman, you stopped my mother from injecting me with anesthetic to cure my insomnia, making me only second in class. If it weren't for you, a genius like me, even if I committed murder or arson, professors would be scrambling to accept me. You are the one who ruined my chance to become a PhD. Eventually, that shameless nephew hacked me to death, and my sister-in-law stripped me naked and dumped my body in a field. The most despairing thing was that my biological father and brother not only stood by and watched, but also squandered all my assets, using my money to send my nephew abroad, and the whole family emigrated to another country. Before leaving, they even dug up my corpse, cursing me to never rest in peace in my next life. Then I opened my eyes and reincarnated. Back to the day I discovered my sister-in-law secretly injecting my nephew with anesthetic. In this life, my sister-in-law lied to me again, saying it was nutritional sleep milk. This time, I didn't stop her. I wanted to see what would happen if my nephew was injected with a large amount of sleep milk without my interference. What would become of this family? Xiaodong Luo, I want you to immediately apologize to my son. Say that you're blind, that you mistook the nutritional solution for anesthetic. If because of you he refuses the injection and misses his university entrance exam, I'll make your life a living hell. Before I could even fully open my eyes, I heard a familiar voice. Wasn't this exactly what my sister-in-law, Yan Zhao, had said to me the day I discovered her secretly injecting anesthetic? I opened my eyes wide and saw Yan Zhao glaring furiously at me and my nephew, Yaozu Luo, lying on the bed. I had reincarnated. In my previous life, when my sister-in-law told me to lie and say I'd mistaken it, I didn't cooperate. Instead, I patiently explained the dangers of anesthetic to her. Later, when she secretly injected Yaozu, I replaced the anesthetic with a nutritional solution, saving his life. I never imagined that the person who spent money and effort taking him to the hospital to cure his illness would be cruelly murdered by him and his mother after his failure to get a PhD admission. I still remember the hateful look in Yaozu's eyes before I died. It's all because you stopped my mother from injecting me with anesthetic. If not for my talent, I would surely have been first in class at Tsinghua. Harassing one person, even if it were 100 people, professors would still fight over me. You ruined my chance at a PhD. Go die. Remembering the scene where my nephew chopped off my head, a shiver ran down my spine. Just then, Yaozu's words pulled me back to reality. You're a doctor of medicine and a core technical staff member at a pharmaceutical company. Tell me, what is my mother injecting into me? Thinking of the tragic outcome of my previous life, this time, I absolutely wouldn't tell Yaozu the truth. I feigned naivete. Didn't your mother just say it's a nutritional solution? You're a top graduate. If it were an anesthetic, wouldn't you know better than me? Yan Zhao immediately snorted coldly and turned back to Yaozu. Your aunt is, at best, a doctor who only knows how to parrot information. Aside from memorizing, she knows nothing. What does she know about anesthetic? Ask her how many types of sleeping pills she knows compared to me. Your mother here, although not an outstanding student, did attend a proper medical school. She's certainly no worse than her, a person who only recognizes words. I quickly nodded. Sister-in-law is right. I only know a few extra words which are useless. With Yaozu having suffered from insomnia for so long, his mother definitely knows what's most effective. Yan Zhao didn't even bother to look up. Isn't that more than you? I told you my son couldn't sleep and asked you to get some medicine from the lab to treat him. Yet you gave me your friend's business card, told me to go to a third-rate hospital for psychiatric examination, and even said my son had depression. Zayadong Luo, how can you be so cruel? My son is perfectly fine, and you curse him with mental illness. Luckily, I'm good at socializing and joined many groups where I learned about this sleep milk. Yesterday, I only gave him one shot, and he slept for half an hour. It's much more effective than your ridiculous doctors. I didn't argue with Yen Zhao. After all, she truly was the mother of that madman, Yeazu Luo. In this life, I only wanted to escape this family as soon as possible. Fleeing was the best option. So, I quickly retreated. Sister-in-law is still more capable. I misspoke earlier. You two should continue injecting the sleep milk. I'll take my leave. My sister-in-law sneered. Go slowly, no need to see you out. If you stayed, I'd worry you'd steal my sleep milk, research its ingredients, and sell it to your company for profit. I walked out the door, laughing coldly to myself. My company had thousands of tons of the anesthetic Yen Zhao called sleep milk. Why would I need to steal it for research? How ridiculous. Yen Zhao was now beaming, waiting for her precious sleep milk to addict Ieyasu. Let's see if she could still smile then. Not many days after I returned home, my mother messaged, "Tomorrow is your father's 60th birthday. Come home immediately." In my previous life, after I was hacked to death by my nephew, my parents were out for a walk and happened to witness the bloody scene. I thought they would cry, call the police, but no, the first thing they did was think about protecting my nephew. Don't be scared, dear. Weren't you diagnosed with depression before? Mentally ill people who kill are not held responsible. Your aunt is unmarried and childless, so all the family assets are ours. Not a single penny is needed. Everything will be used to send you abroad. In that moment, my soul screamed. They only brought me home when I was 10. I earned my university tuition myself, but under their brainwashing, I diligently became their little cotton coat, as they called it. My father's heart surgery cost 50,000 yuan, which I earned working part-time during university. My mother's kidney surgery. They said my brother was about to get married and didn't have enough dowry, so they asked me to pay. I gave them 80,000 yuan, savings from working odd jobs during my student gambling days. Later, they said the old house was damp, causing aches when it rained. So, I bought them a house in the city. But what did I get in my previous life? Besides being exploited by them, I had nothing. Therefore, when I saw the message telling me to come home, I didn't want to reply. But the next day, while I was still at work, my mother came directly to my office. "You wretched child, you don't reply to messages. Do you know tomorrow is your father's 60th birthday?" Without a word, she twisted my ear right in the office, making my colleagues stare. I was a technical director here. My mother completely disregarded my professional standing. I understood her nature. If I didn't follow her home, she would make a scene and cause trouble at the company. Currently, I was undergoing review for a critical experimental project at a leading American pharmaceutical company. If I successfully returned, it would significantly impact the development of domestic cancer drugs. The observation period was only 1 month. If my mother caused a commotion now, the company might revoke my slot. I quickly appeased her. "Mom, I just forgot some things. I'll grab them and come right back. Now that you're here, let's hurry home and celebrate Dad's birthday." It was still early in the workday, so not many people were around. Before things got out of hand, I quickly led my mother home. As soon as we arrived, I saw my father, Guangzhong Luo, and my brother Jianping's family already seated at the table. Seeing me, my father huffed and glared. "Look at you. A doctor of medicine like you is not even as capable as your sister-in-law. Look how amazing Yen Yen is. She heard somewhere about this sleep milk. 1 injection for my darling grandson, and he's asleep instantly. And you. You introduced your sister-in-law, took my grandson to see some psychiatrist at some medicine group, wasn't it, all just because you were so desperate to earn money?" It was then I understood. My sister-in-law had already reported all my crimes to my father before I arrived. I didn't feel it was appropriate to explode, only hoping to finish the meal and quietly retreat. So I complied, saying, "Dad is right. We just learn a few words in school. We're not truly capable." My sister-in-law, Yen Zhao, snorted coldly. "Zayadong Luo, it's good that you know your place. Don't think that just because you have a PhD, you're superior. I'm telling you, with our Yazu's achievements, he will definitely be a unique, exclusive PhD in the future." My father immediately chimed in. "That's right. Yazu's poor grades now are entirely due to insomnia. Now that we have this miracle drug, sleep milk, our family will soon rise to prominence. Forget Tsinghua, even Cambridge and Oxford will be fighting over him." Saying this, he affectionately patted Ieyasu on the shoulder. "Grandson, don't you think Grandpa is right?" Unexpectedly, Ieyasu became annoyed, swatting his hand away. "I just want to sleep now. That feeling is wonderful." As he spoke, he pulled my sister-in-law, wanting to go into the room for an injection, completely disregarding the dining table full of people. I yelled, "Yazu Luo, you're being utterly disrespectful. You just woke up and you want another injection? Do you still consider your grandfather to be anything?" As soon as I finished speaking, Ieyasu slammed his hand on the table and shouted, "What are you yelling about? I want to sleep. Who dares to stop me? If you don't let me sleep, do you want me to die?" Seeing my sister-in-law still Leng Zheng, stunned, he shouted, "Mom, why are you just standing there? Quickly get the medicine and inject me. I want to sleep now." Only I knew that after several days of injecting sleep milk, Ieyasu had become addicted to the dazed feeling after being anesthetized. But my father didn't understand this. He yelled at my brother, all right. A high school senior works hard. If he wants to sleep, just let him sleep. My 60th birthday is not as important as my beloved grandson's sleep." My father had spoken, so my brother had no choice but to nod. "All right, go inject him, then come out and eat." My brother ordered Yen Zhao, but after waiting for a long time, my sister-in-law didn't emerge after such a simple injection. My brother became impatient and shouted into the room, "Yen Zhao, what are you doing in there for so long?" At this moment, my sister-in-law's trembling voice echoed from the room. "Jianping, come in here for a moment, I have something to tell you." I didn't know what they were whispering about inside, but after a while they both emerged. My father asked discontentedly, "Is there something you can't say in front of everyone?" My brother led my sister-in-law to sit down, cleared his throat twice, and then said, "As everyone just saw, Ieyasu really likes this injection because it helps him sleep afterward. For him, this is very important. The university entrance exam is coming soon, and sleep is extremely essential. We must pay attention to it." I secretly scoffed. What does your son have to do with me? But my brother's gaze kept fixed on me, and I immediately knew he was targeting me. Sure enough, after looking at me several times, he said, "But Mom, Dad, Zayadong, there's something you don't know yet. This sleep milk is quite expensive. Before, Yazu only needed one injection costing over 1,000 yuan to sleep for 30 minutes. Now, to sleep for half an hour, he needs an injection costing over 3,000 yuan. And he doesn't just sleep for half an hour a day. Now he spends over 10,000 yuan every day. Yen Zhao is a housewife and doesn't earn money, and I've just invested in a business and haven't recouped my capital yet. So, everyone should contribute to this expense." He said, "Everyone," but his eyes never left me for a second. Seeing that I didn't react, he stopped pretending and directly said, "Zayadong, I'm hesitant to ask Mom and Dad, but you're my biological sister. Are you really not going to help me when I'm in trouble?" I immediately retorted, "If you're in trouble, go find your wife. And don't you have your in-laws? I'm just your sister, let alone the fact that I don't have any money." As soon as he heard this, my father, Guangzhong Luo, immediately turned red, slammed his hand on the table, and shouted loudly, "Zayadong Luo, how dare you speak to your brother like that? You're a technical director at a pharmaceutical company with an annual salary of over 1,000,000 yuan, and you say you have no money. Drive to the bank immediately and withdraw money. Don't keep a single penny." My mother also stood up. "Zayadong, put down your chopsticks. Do you still have the appetite to eat meat? If you delay my darling grandson's sleep, I won't forgive you." I was both angry and amused. It felt as if the entire family was just waiting to drain me dry. Fortunately, I had reincarnated. In my previous life, at this very birthday party, my brother and sister-in-law also demanded money from me. But back then, it was my sister-in-law who initiated it. She suddenly spoke up. "Zayadong, didn't you once advise me to take Ieyasu for depression treatment? You even gave me a business card." I asked, and each session cost 1,500 yuan. How could our family afford that? Since you suggested it, you should pay for it. At that time, because I had secretly replaced the anesthetic she injected into my nephew with a nutritional solution, I felt responsible for helping him with his insomnia. Even though my sister-in-law's tone was unpleasant, I still agreed. From then on, I spent money and effort, picking up and dropping off my nephew every day. His psychological therapy continued without interruption. About 3 months later, my nephew fully recovered from depression, and I had spent over 300,000 yuan. Not to mention, the excessive time I dedicated to him caused me to lose the opportunity to be sent to a prestigious American lab for research, which was snatched by someone else. So in this life, as soon as I returned home, I had already prepared a fake photo of investment losses in the stock market. Now was the time to use it. Mom and Dad, you said my annual salary is over 1 million yuan, but that's a new salary increase this year. It's only early May, so how could I have that much money? My father, Guangzhong Luo, snapped. If not 1 million, you must at least have 500,000 yuan. Hand it over. That's enough for his injections for 10 days or half a month. I continued, last year I just bought you both a house. Where would I get more money? My father was so angry he choked on his words. Truly useless. What's the point of getting a PhD? My mother interjected. Then withdraw whatever you have in your card. I'll go with you. She even started to grab my bag. But in reality, if they followed me, they would find that my card still held over 1 million yuan, money I had earned from stock market investments. How could I let them take it so easily? I held onto my bag, choked up, and shed a single tear. Mom, you're right to say I'm useless. I used to have over 200,000 yuan, but recently the stock market was too hot, I invested, and I lost everything. Saying this, I completely embodied the role of an award-winning actress, letting out a wail, grabbing my bag, sitting on the floor, and sobbing, tears and snot running down my face. My mother stood stunned. Luckily, my father, Guangzhong Luo, was quick-witted and waved his hand. I don't believe a careful person like you would invest in stocks. I wiped my tears, trembling as I opened my phone to show him. Inside were hundreds of debt collection messages. And Mom, you blame me for not coming to the birthday party? The truth is, debt collectors have been hounding me for days. I was afraid if I came home, they would track me down, so I avoided it. At least I didn't let it affect your lives, did I? You're both old, you have a grandson, a new house, how could I bear to ruin all that? My father took the phone, saw it was full of debt collection messages, and panicked, throwing the phone back at me as if it were a hot coal. But he didn't know those messages were sent by online friends I'd asked for help after posting a cry for help. They were so righteous, sending me thousands of messages in one day. Now my parents believed I was truly deep in debt and couldn't be forced to give money. They sat down, saying nothing more. My brother's eyes were fixed on my father, Guangzhong Luo. I knew he was about to ask my father for money, but my father was not a simple man. He quickly spoke first. Jianping, your mom and I are just retired workers. The new house was bought by Xiaodong, and the renovation costs were our money. Now we only have 20,000 yuan left. I'll transfer it all to you in a bit. Just take it and use it. I laughed coldly in my heart. In my previous life, my father had drained over 1 million yuan from me. After I died, he even sold all my assets to send the nephew who killed me abroad. He knew perfectly well that Ieyasu was capable of murder, not a good person by any means, but he couldn't bear to see him go to jail. To prevent the Luo family line from ending, my father came up with this plan. Therefore, all this time, my father had always used my money to support my brother's family, while his own retirement savings remained untouched. But in this life, I would not let that iron rooster be so pleased with himself. Want to keep private money? Dream on. Seeing the opportunity had arrived, I played the Good Samaritan. If Mom and Dad don't have money, then I'll have to think if there's anyone else I can borrow from. My brother, hearing my father say he had no money, was a bit unwilling. He glanced at my father, Guangzhong Luo. Dad, Mom and Dad's retirement money is also kept by you. Almost all the renovation money was Xiaodong's. As far as I know, the only thing you bought in this house was that water dispenser, and that's because you broke it yourself. You had to buy it yourself when I was researching in the mountains with no signal. Honestly, Dad, you don't spend anything, so how do you only have 20,000 yuan left? Hearing this, I immediately knew my brother, Jianping Luo, was annoyed. To be honest, although my parents exploited me, they were always willing to spend their private money on my brother, Jianping Luo. It was just that I often earned money and gave it to him. Now that I was pretending to have no money, my father couldn't give any more. That 20,000 yuan was to shut my brother up. Seeing the atmosphere start to become tense, I secretly rejoiced. Good, let them fight. If they don't, I'll add fuel to the fire. I brushed the dirt off my pants, stood up and said, Brother, Mom and Dad only have you as a son. How could they lie to you? If they had a single penny left, they wouldn't keep it for themselves. My mother quickly agreed. Guangzong, Xiaodong is right. The Luo family only has one treasure, and that's you. What good is money if it's not given to you? I also acted along. Brother, saying that to dad is like not trusting mom and dad. I know you need money, it's okay. Let me call around and see if I can borrow from anyone. Saying that, I put my phone on speaker and made a call. As soon as it connected, I sweetly said, "Hello, Brother Bio, Before I finished, the other end exploded like a machine gun. Director Luo, did you finally decide to buy stocks? I told you so. Your father bought over 500,000 yuan, and last month he withdrew over 800,000 in profit. If you had bought earlier, you'd be rich by now." No one in the family knew I wasn't actually calling to borrow money, but calling a broker who always urged me to invest. In my previous life, after buying a house for my parents, I accidentally learned from Brother Bio that my father was also his client. It was then I realized my parents, who cried poor and lamented their hardships every day, actually had over 800,000 yuan. But by then, the house was bought, and the money was paid, so I didn't expose them. In this life, I was determined not to let them hide a single penny of their retirement savings. Sure enough, after Brother Bio's artillery fire, my parents' true assets were completely exposed. My brother's face grew darker and darker, and my sister-in-law sneered coldly. "Mom and Dad, didn't you say you could sacrifice everything for your grandson? You have 800,000 yuan but only give 20,000. Are you treating us like beggars?" I quickly hung up. "Brother Bio, I don't want to invest, I was trying to borrow money." Unexpectedly, the other side still didn't understand. "You don't believe me? I have clear proof that your parents withdrew 800,000 yuan. I'll send you a picture right away." A ding sounded on the phone. Before I could open it, my brother snatched it. As soon as he saw the withdrawal confirmation photo, he trembled with rage, pointing at my father. "Dad, do you have anything else to say?" My father choked, unable to speak, only mumbling. "It's true I withdrew 800,000 yuan, but I reinvested it. Now there's really nothing left." Who could believe that? My brother dragged my father toward the door. "Let's go to the bank now. If there's no money, fine, but if there is, don't even think about keeping a single penny. You dared to lie to your own son. This time, I'll make you pay." My father was old, and though he was bruised and battered from being dragged, he didn't dare resist. The entire family, except for my nephew Ieyasu, followed them to the bank. And as expected, the account contained exactly 800,000 yuan. My brother withdrew it all to take home to cure his son's insomnia. 10,000 yuan was spent in 3 days. That money was now exclusively for Ieyasu, and everyone else would have to manage their own living expenses. After that, he grabbed the money, took my sister-in-law, and left. My 2 old parents could only look at me with miserable eyes, and in my heart, I was laughing like crazy. But my role was that of a failed stock investor, penniless, so I could only force a distressed expression. "Dad, I know you have over 900,000 yuan in another account, money you secretly sold the old house in the countryside for without telling brother. Now, if you give me 800,000 yuan, I won't tell him. Otherwise, you know what will happen. If he finds out, you won't keep a single penny." My father was startled, almost falling backward. 900,000 yuan and you demand 800,000? What kind of vicious daughter are you? I didn't bother listening. I just raised my phone. "Dad, my brother hasn't gone far. If you divide it with me, you'll still keep 100,000 yuan. You have a house and a pension. 100,000 is enough to live on. But if I call brother back, let alone 100,000, you won't even keep a single penny." My father was so angry he almost suffocated, but seeing me actually start to dial my brother's number, he finally caved. So I had 900,000 yuan in hand, double the amount I had spent buying them a house in my previous life. Consider it their repayment of the debt to me. As for their future lives, they could leave that to my brother's family. Fearing I would reveal their money matters to my brother, my parents didn't dare bother me for weeks. I, meanwhile, dedicated myself wholeheartedly to this opportunity for advanced study, researching day and night. I was so engrossed in developing new cancer drugs that I completely forgot about my nephew injecting sleep milk. Until one day, a colleague had to work all night on an experiment and asked me to pick up their child and watch the baby overnight. Coincidentally, my colleague's home was in the same complex and unit as my brother's house. As I led the child downstairs, I was nearly scared to death by a glass vase that fell from above. I frantically asked the people around, "Why is someone throwing things from a high floor? We should report it to management." An old lady eating melon seeds looked up and chimed in, "Reporting is useless. Unit 202 has a crazy son who keeps demanding his mother inject him with something called sleep milk. If she doesn't, he punches and kicks her. His father can't even hold him back. Several management staff have been beaten by him too. Medical bills cost tens of thousands." Hearing this, I suddenly remembered that Unit 202 was my brother Jianping Luo's house. Had the family fallen into such chaos in less than a month? At this moment, several security guards also rushed over. As soon as they finished speaking, a television was thrown down from the second floor. I quickly pulled the child back far away. This chaotic scene could genuinely lead to murder, it was no joke. Just then, a tragic scream echoed from the second floor. "Son, please don't hit anymore. Mother truly has no more money to inject you. All 800,000 yuan is gone. You injured people, and the compensation money is all spent. You beat someone at school again, and we had to pay compensation again. Your parents are just ordinary people. Where are we supposed to get more money, son?" I immediately recognized the voice as Yan Zhao's. "If you don't inject me, then go die, Mom." Smack, a loud slap echoed sharply. That sound came from the second floor, but we on the ground floor could hear it clearly. The people around began to whisper, "This kid is too vicious, like a drug addict. Impossible. I heard he only had insomnia, and his mother found some sleep milk from who knows where. 1 injection, and he sleeps instantly. I heard at first it was 1 injection a day, then he demanded 3 injections a day. That stuff is expensive. 3 injections are over 10,000 yuan. How can an ordinary family afford that? This sounds like drugs. Everyone should stay away from them. Who knows, maybe it's real addiction." The chatter spread through the crowd. It was then I suddenly remembered that I had been too busy with research lately. I only slept 2 to 3 hours a day and had forgotten about my nephew's sleep milk injections. I slapped my forehead. It's clearly anesthetic addiction. I quickly pulled the child even further away. Now, we couldn't go home. What if we encountered Yazu Luo on the stairs? Who knows what would happen? As I led the child further away, I saw a man dragging a woman down the stairs. "You filthy woman, what the hell did you inject into my son? Tell me, what was that white stuff?" I saw that it was my brother, Jianping Luo, grabbing Yan Zhao by the hair and dragging her downstairs. My sister-in-law was covered in injuries, trembling uncontrollably from fear. "Husband, I'll tell you the truth." Yan Zhao choked. "Just tell me the truth, and I won't blame you." Jianping Luo released her hair. Yan Zhao cried silently. Our son wasn't just suffering from insomnia, right? I had asked Xiaodong Luo for some medicine, but she said it was a psychological problem and advised me to take him to her doctor friend, saying it might be depression. I thought, what do children know about depression? Spending money on that would just be a waste. So I went everywhere looking for medicine. I tried everything: melatonin, sleeping pills, even traditional Chinese medicine. But our son still couldn't sleep. I was truly at my wit's end. He was getting thinner by the day, and his grades were plummeting. Our son used to be a potential student for Tsinghua and Peking University, you know? So I joined many groups and heard about something called sleep milk that was very effective. I managed to buy 1 injection from the black market. Husband, I swear, at first, I only bought 1 injection. After injecting it, our son slept instantly. When he woke up, he even said he slept wonderfully. So I bought a few more injections. As long as he slept well, his studies would definitely improve, right, husband? Jianping Luo nodded. Seeing he wasn't angry, Yan Zhao continued. "Later, after a few injections, your sister Xiaodong found out and said it was an anesthetic. Our son heard that and didn't want any more injections. I immediately scolded him and made him admit he mistook it. I told him it was just a nutritional solution, not an anesthetic. He apologized and left." My brother remained calm. "You studied nursing and worked as a nurse for several years. When Xiaodong warned that it was an anesthetic, why weren't you alarmed?" Yan Zhao struggled to speak. "Actually, by the 3rd injection, I already suspected it. Nutritional solutions have a milky form because they contain fat. But as someone who worked as a nurse, I still felt it was different. I realized it wasn't normal." At this point, she hesitated, then looked at my brother questioningly. My brother lit a cigarette. "Go on, I'm not angry. You did it for our son, I understand." Yan Zhao continued. "But what if it was an anesthetic? Our son could sleep, and his studies improved significantly. If it were you, would you cut off his medication? Would you let his grades drop again? Our son is a genius. He ranked first every year. For so many years, I haven't worked, haven't gone out. I pick him up and drop him off at school every day, forbid him from making friends, forbid him from watching TV, just so that one day he can pass the entrance exam to Tsinghua or Peking University and bring honor to the Luo family. I want your parents to know that my son is even better than their daughter. If their daughter can become a PhD, my son can also pass the entrance exam to a top university. The more Yan Zhao spoke, the more agitated she became, no longer crying, her face clearly showing the pride of a mother. But at this moment, my brother suddenly threw away his cigarette, his eyes deep, flashing with a frightening savagery. So, you knew perfectly well it was an anesthetic and still injected it into our son? Yan Zhao was so scared she took 2 steps back. So what? I did it for this family. If our son gets into Tsinghua, you'll also benefit. Yes, if our son gets into Tsinghua, Jianping Luo will surely be beaming with pride. Unbeknownst to me, my brother now held a brick. As he raised it, the brick swung down like lightning, smashing directly into Yan Zhao's head. You did this and you don't realize what disaster you've caused. Our Tsinghua son has been ruined by you. Do you know that? You knew my sister said it was anesthetic. Why didn't you take our son for psychological examination? Why did you only care about his university entrance exam, ignoring his life? Yan Zhao, you're a lunatic. You went mad for achievements. The man who was once calm now resembled a maddened beast, repeatedly smashing the brick into his wife's head. He even stripped off all of Yan Zhao's clothes, exposing her body right before everyone's eyes. I looked at Yan Zhao and suddenly remembered myself in my previous life. In my previous life, after I died, Yan Zhao was still not satisfied and also stripped me naked. I never imagined that in this life, she would be the one suffering such humiliation. Just as Jianping Luo was beating Yan Zhao senseless, a person tightly bound with ropes unexpectedly rolled down the stairs. Despite the considerable distance, I clearly recognized it was my nephew, Yeazu Luo. As soon as he rolled down, the ropes somehow spontaneously came undone. Almost the instant he was freed, Yeazu lunged straight toward my brother. He bit hard into my brother's ear, biting off Jianping Luo's entire right ear in one go, unclear if it was due to withdrawal symptoms or out of concern for his mother. Without waiting for my brother to react, Yeazu casually picked up an iron pipe by the roadside, swung it forcefully at my brother's head, shouting as he hit him, "What right do you have to hit my mother? Have you ever cared about me since I was little? Now you blame my mother for not raising me properly. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being useless. If you earned more money, wouldn't I be able to inject as much sleep milk as I wanted? Die, you useless old man." When my father, Guangzhong Luo, and my mother pushed through the crowd to the scene, my brother, Jianping Luo, was already lying there, covered in blood and unconscious. My mother frantically wanted to rush to save her son, but my father, that selfish man, secretly retreated from the crowd, intending to slip away. Unexpectedly, Yeazu spotted him with a glance. "You stinking old man, still trying to run away?" My father froze in fear. He forced a smile and said, I just need to pee, my dear grandson." Yeazu said nothing, charging forward and grabbing my father by the collar. "You said you had no money, then what is this?" In his hand was precisely the 100,000 yuan savings passbook my father had kept hidden, but Yeazu had unexpectedly found it. "Let's go now, you're taking me to withdraw money." Yeazu was impatient, desperate for more injections. My father, terrified, quickly nodded. "I'll take you, but I don't have my ID card with me. Let me go upstairs to get it for a moment, okay?" Yeazu immediately let go. My father, once freed, immediately turned and fled. "Bastard, you dare to trick me?" Yeazu roared, chasing after him. My father tried his best to run at full speed, constantly yelling, "Damn legs, run faster!" But in the end, Yeazu still caught up. One direct blow to the head. My father collapsed on the spot. Yeazu wiped his sweat and turned back towards the unit door, intending to go inside to get my father's ID card. As he arrived, he saw his mother, Yan Zhao, standing there, her face bruised. Yeazu looked from her face down to her hand, discovering that in her hand was a blood-stained brick. "Run, son. I'll say I killed him. You're still young. You must get into Tsinghua and bring honor to your mother." It turned out that after seeing Jianping Luo unconscious, Yan Zhao checked and found he was no longer breathing. She immediately thought of taking the blame for her son. It couldn't be denied that Ieyasu was indeed the perfect heir to the Luo family's selfish bloodline. Hearing his mother tell him to run, he actually threw away the iron pipe and rushed towards the apartment complex gate. "Stop him, don't let the killer escape," I shouted loudly. Only then did everyone snap out of it, immediately slamming the gate shut. "Zayadong Luo, you bitch, if my son doesn't escape, I'll never forgive you," Yan Zhao shrieked, grabbing the brick and lunging towards me. But before she could run a few steps, a group of police officers suddenly appeared, pinning her to the ground. "Zayadong Luo, you called the police?" Yan Zhao gritted her teeth and yelled at me. I smiled brightly. "Your son killed his biological father. I am a responsible citizen. Of course, I must report it." Yan Zhao shouted at the police. "My son didn't kill anyone. He just used the iron pipe to knock my husband unconscious. The one who ultimately killed my brother was me. I used this brick to kill Jianping Luo." At that moment, I stepped out and said, "Whether Jianping Luo was killed by his brother or by Ieyasu Luo is still unclear, but the fact that my father was beaten to death by Ieyasu Luo is an undeniable truth." Saying that, I took out my phone and played a video. I originally intended to call the police, but I accidentally pressed video recording. It just happened to capture the scene of Ieyasu Luo beating my father to death with the iron pipe. After speaking, I even forced a few tears. The police officers were all moved. "Don't worry with this video, that devil won't escape the law." My sister-in-law's plan to take the blame for her son completely crumbled. She herself now faced the possibility of becoming a murderer. She slumped to the ground, only able to watch as Ieyasu Luo was escorted away by the police. He was in his senior year of high school, exactly 18 years old. The juvenile protection law could no longer help him. After forensic examination, both my brother Jianping Luo and my father Guangzhong Luo died from being struck in the head by Ieyasu Luo with an iron pipe. Ultimately, he was sentenced to death and permanently stripped of his political rights. Yan Zhao was convicted of illegal use of anesthetic and intentional assault, unable to escape the punishment of the law. The police also uncovered the foreign criminal syndicate selling illegal anesthetics behind the incident and apprehended them all. My mother, the only survivor, after suffering too great a shock, shaved her head and became a nun in the mountains. Later, I received a letter from her. In the letter, she wrote that she had a dream. In the dream, I was killed by Ieyasu Luo, and she, as a mother, did not help me. Instead, she used my money to send Ieyasu abroad. She wrote, "My child, I don't know if that dream was real, but looking at the death of your father and brother, I think it's very likely to be real, or perhaps something that happened in a previous life. Perhaps what I am enduring in this life is the retribution for what I did in the previous life. In this world, whoever sows evil reaps evil. My daughter, isn't that right? Whether that dream was real or not, I still want to say I'm sorry to you." I finished reading the letter, immediately set it on fire and burned it, not wanting to see her again from that day on. 2 years later, I returned from the biopharmaceutical research lab in the United States. 3 years later, the cancer drug I researched was successfully launched, included in health insurance, saving countless cancer patients. That day, after the celebration of success, I didn't call a driver but walked home in the cold winter wind. A white plastic bag flew past my feet. I picked it up and put it in the trash can. Right next to the trash can, I saw a familiar figure, Yan Zhao. She was wearing only a pair of blood-soaked furry slippers, completely naked, clinging to the edge of the trash can, continuously digging for food. Whenever someone passed by, she would stop and yell, "I'm telling you all, my son is very talented. He once passed the Tsinghua entrance exam, almost became a PhD. Passers-by fled in fear, and she chased after them. Don't you believe me? In my previous life, my son really studied at Tsinghua, almost became a PhD, thanks to his aunt's help. I wanted to inject him with anesthetic to cure his insomnia, but his aunt secretly replaced it with a nutritional solution and even spent money to treat his illness. Only then did he pass the exam. Believe me, believe me." When I approached to throw away my trash, I don't know if Yan Zhao recognized me. I only saw her dirty tears flowing, crying and yelling, "Please tell Zayadong Luo, the karma I created in my previous life, I have paid for it in this life. Tell her we were wrong." Saying that, she collapsed to the ground, repeatedly kowtowing with loud thuds. Several drunken men stumbled over, one of them bent down and lifted her chin. "This one looks pretty good, too. Come to our room and warm up a bit." Saying that, they all began to molest Yan Zhao. "Please let me go. Please, gentlemen, let me go." I looked across the street where there was a police station, quietly pulled out my phone, and dialed for help. I don't know if Yen Zhao could still be saved. I only knew that day the snow fell very heavily. My heart was cold, yet calm. Perhaps true happiness was only just beginning now.